Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good to see you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hi, Ryan. Glad you could join.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting again.
Yeah, of course. Tomas, welcome from Chile.
Hi, Christy. Good afternoon.
Everett, remind me where you are?
Good afternoon. I am based in the Cleveland area.
Cleveland, okay.
It may not sound like that from my accent.
Southern Cleveland, yeah.
Hey, Ebert, how you doing? Hey, guys.
Enrique, doing well, thanks.
Good afternoon, evening, or morning, I guess, depending on where you guys are.
Yevgeny, where are you coming from?
Hi, Yevgeny. My name is Yevgeny here. Yeah, Yevgeny. I work for the Consulate of Ukraine in Chicago.
Chicago, yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, let's wait a minute or two for my colleague Helen to join.
Scott, our resident supply chain now guy, thank you.
You bet. Great to be here. Great to see everybody here. Looking forward to another very informative, uplifting, and action-oriented working session here today.
And we have Timur as well. I think, Timur, you just dialed in as well, right?
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, there you are. Yes, and we're gonna let you speak a little bit and introduce yourself at the beginning. So I just wanted to give you a quick heads up, and thank you very much for coordinating. And we're with you and Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this meeting. Well, as you already know, our country is at war. We now face a full-scale.
Oh, and so Timur, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to give like 5 more minutes to people to join, if you don't mind, or 2 more minutes, so that we just have a little bit of chance, and then we can start, officially start. And of course, we would love to hear a little bit more about what you have to say and what your team is doing, and how can we help you, which is basically the main goal of this conversations anyways.
And you're in Washington, D.C., is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I start?
So, Enrique, you're visiting with Monica. I believe that's beside you. That's so cool. On the road to International Man of Mystery, one Enrique Alvarez.
We're in Mexico today, yes, in Aguascalientes. So I'm joining from here.
Wonderful. Well, good to see you and Mani and Timur. I think we're gonna get started here in just a minute or two. I think this is our second working session, Christy, and
Yes.
Last week was so. It was a great session, and then of course Maureen joined us on the live stream. Maureen was dropping the knowledge and sharing more about this project here, and we look forward to getting an update on what's transpired just since last week, right? And Maureen, did I say your last name right on the live stream? I might have added a C between the S and the H. I'm bad about that.
It sounds the same, but I think you did.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't like that other snack food you made before. What was it?
I showed the
Monday or what
so
was
folks,
it?
so we have about 3 slides. Yeah, just three slides we use on this one live stream, and we started talking blockchain, and of course I showed the slide related to anything but blockchain, and it took me about 7 minutes to figure out I had the wrong visual. So thank you for pointing that out, Maureen. I'm a little bit slow sometimes. All right, so Enrique.
we have David as well. He just texted me, but hey, David, how are you doing? He's in
Hey,
Poland,
hey,
leading
hey,
president
everyone.
of the EO Poland. And so thanks for joining, and thanks again for sending that video and everything that you're doing in Poland with the refugees in your country, as most countries around the Ukraine are doing. So thanks.
Mhm.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to see you again, David. Okay, Enrique, I know we've got lots of special guests here today. Folks are still making it in.
Let's start. Yeah, for sure. Well, once again, thank you so much for participating in this weekly goals. The main goal and objective is to understand the conflict a little bit better, to make sure that we are updated with the latest and what's happening in terms of what we need to supply, and then organizations that want to donate, and then also organizations that are working tirelessly to receive the products and distribute in Ukraine, and then also in the neighboring countries. So go ahead, Christy. I think without further ado, and as I was telling to some of you before the official kind of start of this meeting, it's a discussion. It's not a presentation. It's for people to just jump in, communicate, hopefully make some find some synergies and continue helping the Ukraine, right? So with that said, I would like to introduce Tibor Baudarbekov. And Tibor, if you don't mind introducing yourself as well, so that people know who you are and what you're doing, and then also, of course, giving us an update and telling us a little bit more about what it's needed right now in the Ukraine, as well as some of the amazing efforts that you, your team, and a lot of other countries and people that you're coordinating with are doing. So I'll let you
Hello, everyone. My name is Tibor Baudarbekov. I'm the second secretary of the Embassy of Ukraine in the United States. Currently, I'm responsible for coordinating all the humanitarian issues, mainly focused on medical supplies. As I started before, you probably all know that we are now faced in the full-scale war with Russia, and our people defend not only our country, they are defend the whole democratic world, and where I suppose we are preventing the Third World War, and the Embassy of Ukraine in the United States are working 24/7 to help our people in this fight. We are taking all measures to engage the American business in the process of humanitarian aid provision to the Ukrainians who need it the most. And currently, American companies, a lot of American businesses have already significantly contributed to the global efforts towards Ukrainian humanitarian needs. Nevertheless, the Ukrainian public healthcare system is still in urgent need of some vital medicines, some medical supplies, and of course we need your help, and asking you to join our efforts. As for the situation in Ukraine, you probably hear all the information from the news. It's daily updates. There are some daily updates on battles from Ukraine, and it's really hard, difficult situation for both for our civilians, for our militaries, and war is war, so we are trying to do our best to overcome all the challenges we facing now. But at the same time, we need more support from our foreign partners, from the United States in particular. I have some the latest updates on our medical needs and humanitarian needs, and of course I will share all the information I have right now. Just give me your email addresses, your contact, and I will give
Yeah.
you all the information.
And Timur, thank you so much. And yes, you can send it to the ukraine@vectorgl.com address, and then we'll distribute it to the group. We'll also add it to the notes of this recording, hopefully, if we can. We have a couple organizations, Matter, one of them that is ready to donate medical products. And so we should be able to ship at least the first container soon for you. We'll talk offline to make sure that we can coordinate with you to see who can receive the container and how the best way to distribute it to the most needed is. But we have a couple organizations already that are committing products on the medical side of things. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would also like to let
I'm also,
Jeff-
Enrique, let me,
Yeah, go ahead.
Timur, I'm curious if there is anything, because as you said, a lot of us are watching the news and getting updates and things. From your perspective, is there anything that we should know that maybe is not being covered by the news that you would like us to know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Everything is pretty well known for everyone, I think, because all the information you can see from local news, it's very actual and very correct.
Okay.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. And also I wanted to introduce to you Yevgeny Drobot. I probably did not pronounce your name correctly, but he's also Consul for Economic and Public Diplomacy at the Consulate General in Chicago. Yevgeny, how are you doing, and what can you add? How can we help? What's the latest with the General Consulate in Chicago, and what are the things that you guys are working on?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for all your support, all your efforts, and thank you for standing with the people of Ukraine. That is so news, not news. We need everything, and of course there are like priorities that we're like primarily we're focused on for the first 30. Let's say for the first 4 weeks of war, but we're also looking into the nearest future and the crisis, the number of crises our people gonna face both in Ukraine and on Polish-Ukrainian border. So as a priority is of course the number one is medical supplies. Number two, I'm not talking about the protective equipment for the militaries. Number two is the provision within food, like the food packs. So that is two major things: the medical supplies and the food packs. Have it's like when we're talking, it's any kind of food that any canned food, any stored food that can be stored without that does not require any special temperature. So basically, when we ship it, we can ideally, how we see it, we creating like a packs here on the ground in the United States. We're creating a packs, for example, like a pack of for a family of 2 adults and 1 kid for 3 days. So once everything is right there, it's not just, for example, a container of I don't know, of canned tuna or whatever, but it's the pack that is already prepared, so ready to go. So people can once the container arrives to Ukraine, to the warehouse, it can be easily distributed, and there will be no need for extra repacking, sorting, and everything. So that is like the two major priorities for now. So here in Chicago, because it looks like the logistics is, I mean, of course, the when it comes to shipping over the ocean, definitely this coast is the only option, and so we are already working with on sending containers from, I mean, collecting food, packing and sorting. It's still in progress. We hope to get because as of now we have like 5 different warehouses in Chicago where people or a number of volunteer organizations they do great job, but it's not as coordinated as it could or should be. So we hope to get the separate warehouse where all the efforts will be consolidated in terms of receiving every like any kind of goods and items that are useful, and then sort them, tag them, and if it's number 1 priority, then it goes on a airplane on cargo. If it's not, all the other stuff will go over the ocean. So that is where we're now. What do we need and what help we need is basically like the offer. I believe I read the other day the email that Vector Logistics, I believe, offered like 2 free of charge containers per month, right? Is it correct? Yes.
Yeah, that is correct. And we're also working with other organizations and people that want to help out, and they're donating to not only get product together, but we already have some consolidation warehouses, and Maureen's going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So I don't want to jump into that, but yes, we're definitely committing to that. And if we can, we'll actually ship in more. I wanted to introduce Delia, because Delia Diggs, I believe she works for CBS as a consultant, and I guess CBS could potentially be another good organization that we can reach out to. But Delia, sorry to put you on the spotlight, but can you just introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit of what you're currently doing and why you're joining the calls as well?
Sorry,
Oh,
my phone was
there you are.
muted.
There you are. Hey, we've all heard that at least a couple of times a week. So
Yeah, I received an email from Victor and regarding Ukraine and how we could be a part of assisting what's going on in the country. So I just wanted to come online to see what's going on. Victor, he had also helped the communities with some masks and stuff, and I distributed that among the Liberian communities and various communities here in Georgia.
excellent. So let's follow up, Delia. Thank you so much for joining first and foremost, and thank you for just supporting what I believe it's everyone's war at this point. So thanks for standing by Ukraine and Ukrainian people on this. And we can, again, you can reach out to us separately and then we can coordinate, but thanks again. Would like to just open up the forum for everyone else. I know that I have Ebert, we've known him from shipping, but hey, thank you for joining again. And if you want to introduce yourself and what you do and the amazing job that you guys are trying to do to help out, that would be amazing too.
Okay, hi Enrique. So thanks. I'm Ebert van Staden. I'm Director Indirect Sourcing for Performance Health. So we work with Vector as one of our key logistics providers. We are primarily a rehab and recovery provider, but we are a significant supplier to the healthcare industry in the US, and we have identified a number of products that we are donating. One of those is tourniquets, which I have actually seen is in major, or it's a critical item from the news report, for emergency use. We manufacture tourniquets at our facility in Ohio. So we will be, we're identifying some tourniquets. Of course, that's a product that is in high demand. So we will be stealing from our existing customers to try to meet a need. We also have nitrile gloves that we can donate. And then a number of other products like antiseptic, even things like some basic, mostly over-the-counter medical supplies. So those are things that we are busy compiling the final list and just making sure that we can get it ready in full pallet size quantities to be able to ship it to Vector.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, we're inspired working with companies like yours that are purpose driven. So thank you for doing this, and thanks for joining the call. And Maureen will follow up so we can coordinate, and maybe we can have enough of your products to ship another container. And of course, we'll coordinate with Timur and Jenny in Ukraine and Chicago, of course, to try to send the products. I also wanted to introduce David Adach. He's the president of EO Poland. He also has really good news, and they've moved incredibly fast to respond to this war. And they set up not only a warehouse, but a bunch of other things in Poland. They're receiving almost 4 million refugees, and it could be more by now. So David, if you can tell us a little bit about how you're kind of leaving the situation, what you and your team are doing, and how you're helping, so we can all kind of pitch in and help out.
Sure. Thank you, Enrique, for inviting me here. So as you said, we as a country the closest to what's happening, as a neighbors, we just start acting immediately, and because we are a group of entrepreneurs, so we thought how we can use this group of people to support for Ukrainian relief. So we set up a fund. I think we are reaching now $500,000 over there, and we are spending this money. We decided we're gonna spend it 50 instant support, whatever is needed right now, and a 50% will go for the long term, because we all know even if we're hopefully finish today, tomorrow, next week, still the consequences will stay for at least another half a year. So just to give you a few examples, there are Ukrainian schools which were moved, like literally one-to-one. The entire school were moved into Poland. There was other Ukrainian school which was here before, and the director of the school, she had 200 children before the war, and now she has 1,000. So she scaled like 5 times, and there are 1,000 application waiting. So, and she decided that she don't want to get money from the refugees for the first months, obviously, because they are coming here with almost anything. So we are helping her. So we just, for example, last Monday we delivered her desk and chairs. So we are supplying whatever is needed there. A lot of support for the refugees.
But David, before you move on to the next one, I mean, first and foremost, I wasn't even thinking about the schools, but that's going to be a problem everywhere, right? A lot of children that are already refugees will have to be educated in the next year. So we'll expand our search, and maybe Scott, through your channels on supply chain now, we can kind of start looking for schools that want to donate school supplies and desks, and
definitely
and need a lot of school supplies that we didn't even consider. So it's a really, really good point.
And I just, I just gave you very little numbers, because I'm talking only about the Ukrainian schools, and that we support in the first place. But you also have, just in Warsaw, you have 10,000 kids who are accommodated into Polish schools, and in Poland we have 80,000. I mean, that was the numbers from the last week.
Yeah.
80,000 kids accommodated in the Polish schools, which is obviously challenge for them, which is challenge for teacher. People don't know language, each other. So, for example, we now, when we move to this long-term support, what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of create a gift catalog where whoever was donating until now could do the kind of a general donation, but now we're gonna have like a catalog where you can, for example, buy a week of therapy for given child, or you can buy a month of education for them. So that's what we are focusing on. I kind of learned for the last month that the dynamic is unbearable. I mean, it's very difficult to forecast what's going to be needed tomorrow. So we were said, hey, we need the mattresses, so we order mattresses, but by the time when they arrived from the same warehouse in Poland, it just takes them 3 days to come. They weren't needed anymore in this place. We have to move them somewhere else. So this is very dynamic. But on the other hand, we also know that everything is going to be needed in the long term. So that's why we also came up with this idea that we have a warehouse, and if we can get anything, we are just basically getting this, because even if this is not needed today, for sure we're going to need it tomorrow, because this is the scale, unfortunately.
They would on that warehouse, and I think you saw the emails back and forth with Bombas, right? They're Bomba is a sock company. They're willing to probably donate some of the socks. They currently have them in the UK. So that could be interesting. Socks are always useful. So I'll let you kind of, if you don't mind, respond to that email. I don't know if you maybe already did. I didn't see it this morning at other meetings, but that's a good contact. Let's try to leverage it because they're an amazing company as well. Also, if you can send the link, on over the text for this donation, the EO Poland link that you had, that would be helpful too. So that everyone on this call at least will have the link again.
Sure, thank you for that. And I think I replied to this one because I don't like this response like everything is needed, but I kind of learned that this is slowly getting through. I mean, the problem is not with, obviously with the, to deliver this to the proper place, because I'm also getting this messages from the Ukraine border and also from the Ukrainians that, for example, hey, don't send us clothes because we have enough and now we need something else. So as someone said already, coordination is missing, but I kind of feel that it's very difficult to do this coordination. We also do a lot of effort on transportation from Poland to different countries to find shelter for the families, for the refugees. But the situation, for example, it takes 30 hours to get the bus from Portugal to Poland, and by the time when the bus is coming, out of 50 people who subscribed for this bus, there is just 10 people left. And this is kind of obvious because, within 30 hours, those people, they have friends here, they are contacting, and, it could just happen there was another bus to Belgium and they jump on it, this one. So we cannot be angry with them, but also with something like this, it's very difficult to plan. So this coordination is really needed, but on the other hand, it's very difficult to put in place. So yeah, I mean, thank you for having, thank you, Enrique, for what you are doing, especially, and yeah, our idea is now we have a warehouse, so we try to get whatever is available at the moment, because sooner or later we're gonna need it for sure.
Oh, how much space do we have? Because I'm guessing that will fill up hopefully quickly. How much space do you have now? Do you know?
Yeah, we've got some space. We were promised that if needed, they're gonna increase it. But obviously, I think if we can have some backup, some support, or the plan B, just in case, that will be awesome. I know there was the other threat about the medical supplies, so we are working with the hospital, which is in Krzywy Róg. It's like a name of the place in the Ukraine. It's very, very far to the east. It's almost where the war is happening, and they are still operating, they are still doing surgery there. So we are searching for some supplies for them.
That's the video you sent me, right?
Exactly, that's the one.
And we're going to add that video to the link, and of course, let's try to help that particular hospital too. I mean, the video is heartbreaking. I'll share it with you guys later, but so you can share it to your contacts too. There's tons of people that are joining. Vladimir, Natalia, Chris, if you guys want to go ahead and just jump in, introduce yourselves. I know we have logistics providers, we have organizations trying to donate, we have people interested that might not be in any particular industry, but if you guys want to just jump in and introduce yourselves and see what you can offer, and then we'll move on to what Maureen put together, because we also want to give you guys an update on what we have already from organizations and what we're doing with sending products as soon as possible too.
Yes, hi everybody. Vladimir Gendelman, I'm in EO Detroit, and I'm the guy who started that My EO Help Ukraine My EO group. The whole point for the group is to centralize all of our efforts, and the one thing I would like to discuss here is what would be the best way for me to support all of you. To go with the group, we actually have a website that was created before the group called realhelpforukraine.org. And on that website, we raise funds for multiple projects, including EO Poland, efforts of EO Romania, and some other projects that come to us from different sources. So yes, I would really love to hear your thoughts on how the MyEO group can support all of you.
Well, thank you for joining, and thank you for supporting. I mean, that's kind of the same goal that we're pursuing, right? As Vector, we want to bring people together, and that's what we're going to have these weekly calls. So we're going to share this recording as well as all the documents and materials to everyone, and then we'll promote and try to foster some connections among the people that are calling, because we have people trying to donate, we have people trying to distribute it, and we have people like you that are trying to do it on the technology base and trying to bring donations to the next level. So in my opinion, I think sharing what you already have with a group, Vladimir, would be a good first start, and maybe also sending all the information to Timur so that he can also send it officially through the embassy of Ukraine in the United States. So again, we can gather more people. And I agree. I think we need a lot more coordination, a lot more communication. But I think that this is the second time we've done it, and it's going well. I think that if we keep doing this every week, we'll be able to truly start changing things. So, what do you think, Timur? Is that a good thing?
By the way, I did send my contact information to Timur and Evgeny. So if you guys can respond to me after the meeting, that would be great. And while I still have a second here, who is in charge of all the volunteer efforts in Poland? And the reason I'm asking is there are people from here that are interested in going to Poland to help out as volunteers. So who would they be reporting to?
I have no idea. I couldn't answer that question, so I'll let the forum answer. So if I understood correctly, there's people that want to actually travel to Poland to help, and people
Correct.
with all sorts of experience, or we're talking about certain people? Is it more teachers? Is it more construction workers? I mean, what is it? Just general volunteers?
It is, yes, it is more EOers who would love to go. And at some point I was told that David Adach might be the guy, but then maybe not. So
I have no idea. Anyone else that want to take this?
No, so we have volunteers coming in, and to be honest, at the beginning at first this could be kind of a waste of resources, right? I mean, if we have a brilliant mind, let them do what they're best at. But actually now there are like two friends from US. There, one is EO, one is not EO. But I see value in it, because when people come here, it's hard to imagine until you see it with your own eyes. So whoever comes here, they really become like an evangelist, and they're coming back and they're really working to support the case, and they're using all the networks. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, they're not gonna do a lot, change as a volunteers, as another pair of hands, but just by spreading the word and using their network, I think this makes sense. Now, obviously, we should do it in a coordinated way, because if we're gonna have like every one person coming every 3 weeks and someone to take care of that and try to coordinate it, that's gonna be a mess. But maybe if you could think of some organized trip, that would make a lot of sense.
So David, would you be the one corresponding with all of that if we can get a group together?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Okay.
coordinate that. Let's talk about. Let's take it offline. Let's plan something like maybe 1 week and see who can come. Yeah, I can be a contact person on that.
We're
Awesome.
probably going to need more people, David, at some point, because I know you have like millions of things already, plus your own company to run. So, but no, so Vladimir, I think we can just send this question to everyone out there that's kind of listening to this conversations, because it would be great to talk to someone in Poland, maybe more officially with the government in Poland, and saying, hey, how can we funnel all these volunteers, right? So maybe David, instead of taking on the challenge, or maybe take it on for a little bit, but then if you can find someone in the Poland
but we are planning it anyway, because we also, for the old people who are donating, we also want to plan something like kind of, this is called, and I learned that something like even exists last week, that's something like donor trip. So we don't even have to get these people like the volunteering doing some job, but just organize a trip for those who want to support, and they will come all at once, and then we can get the group to the shelter all at once, and so on. So yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying I want to coordinate all this stuff, but on a high level, let's coordinate it, let's think, let's plan it, let's have a group, and let's streamline it, make sure that people are not showing out of blue here at the airport, and then they're saying, hey, I just came, right?
Yeah. Vladimir, I would suggest also, if it's okay, for next week, maybe all those people that are actually trying to get involved and fly to Poland to help, maybe they can just join the group and find out a little bit more. And then by talking to them, they can come up with better ideas once they're there, or how they're, why are they thinking on going, and why it makes sense. So just the more people we have in this conversation, the better answers we can have to the questions. Steve, I see that Steven Seiden joined, and I see that a lot of other people join. If anyone else wants to comment or talk. Oh, Steve, I think you're muted, but we saw your text. All right. No, still muted, I think. Not yet. We'll get you in as soon as James Jennings, you also joined, so thank you and welcome. And I guess Maureen, if you want to kind of start jumping ahead a little bit as people make the comments, I think that could also be helpful to kind of push the agenda for today forward. But go ahead, Steve or James, if you guys want to say something. Or anyone else for that matter.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can. Go ahead.
This is Steve Seiden. I'm an EODC. So I live on Capitol Hill. So if there's anything I can do from a congressional or being close to the action in DC, I'd love to know if there's things I can do. And also there's the Telegram group that I know that's out there that Dominique loves running. And there's some people asking for volunteer, organizing volunteers over there too. So I'm a little bit confused how everybody's working together on this, because it seems like there's 3 or 4 different efforts going on. And so how do we best play with one another is the question I guess I have.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And I forgot about the Telegram group on the side. I think we should just invite them for next week and make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. I agree. There's lots of people trying to help. I think that just bringing everyone together might help. And just the fact that now we know you're in DC and Timur's there and some others are there, maybe there could be some side conversations as well. But no, great points. And like Maureen, if we can, I know you're taking notes, but let's invite the Dominique's group as well. I think they are invited, but let's talk to them too.
And are we dealing with food bank? Like, I know there's a bunch of food banks in DC, how do you coordinate with food banks to maybe ship some food or do things like that? I mean, I've never really done a lot of logistic efforts volunteer wise. I volunteered about a lot of things, but not this. So I don't know how to best engage with some of these either lobbyists at Amazon or whoever they are in DC. I don't know the best way to do that. And do we have any sort of LinkedIn groups that we could be bringing in where we can go and bring all our networks to the LinkedIn group?
So LinkedIn group's a good point. Food banks, another good point. And Timur, you are in DC, and I'm sure manage all this different avenues on a daily basis. What would you say to kind of Steve's question around how do we approach food banks? How do we lobby for more support in DC?
I would recommend you contact my colleague, Denis Maronetsky. He is in charge of food aid, because I mainly, as I also already mentioned, I'm mainly focused on medical supplies. So just call me or contact me through my email address, and I will get
Perfect. We'll send you an email copying Steve. Maureen, if we can take notes of that, and then we'll make then Timur, if you can invite him to our next call, then we'll have the person in charge of lobbying the food banks and the food support on the call, and that way we can also push that kind of avenue forward. David, I'm sorry.
And even on the medical supplies, how do I do that? Right? Are there people to reach out to there
I'm new at some of this. So any
Timur
help
is
to
in
that?
charge of medical supplies, so I think the fastest, easiest way of doing that is to just give him a call or send him an email.
Okay. And you'll connect me with him or get me his email?
Yep, we'll send connections to everyone that participated in this meeting, and I think you'll get the materials and the recording as well. And of course, everyone's on LinkedIn, but it's a good point, Steve, to set up a LinkedIn group too at some point. So we'll look into that as well. Sorry, David, all years. I know that you've been patiently waving the hand.
No, that's very fun. What I wanted to say about the groups, because I feel, again, this is kind of a reality we have to deal with. I kind of find this group as a specialist about the logistic and supply chain. So I would consider this as a working group. Let's do connect with all other groups, the mini group and so on, but there are more generic ones. So you will find like requests, hey, my friend is in Kharkiv, how can I get someone else? So I think this is the way it is. We also work the same here in Poland on the field. So we have a EO group, we have a YPO group, we have other groups, and then we have a groups where everyone is in. So it's all about connecting these dots. So I think this is like kind of the way it is, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time trying to solve that because we're not gonna get everyone into this group. But what I feel, and this is my understanding from what I hear from you guys, you are specialists in that field, and this is really amazing because there are a lot of general groups where there is nothing going on actually, and just a lot of questions, not much support. So I would really try to keep and consider this as this special, task force for the logistics and supply chain.
Yeah, that's a great point. And yes, the objective of this group is to actually ship stuff to Ukraine and the region around the Ukraine. So we will definitely focus on that. And then of course, if we have good connections that we can pass on to some of these other more general groups, we'll do that too. And of course, it will be everyone's responsibility on these groups to kind of proactively go and, hey, if you hear that Timur is in charge of that, then we'll go ahead and reach out to him proactively on your own as well. So yeah, great point, David, because otherwise we'll get lost very quickly because we are all trying to help. And there's so many things that we can do that if we don't kind of focus on what's our expertise, then we'll basically just end up not doing anything and trying to do everything. So good
Exactly.
point. Thanks for keeping us honest. And
yeah, we can't be everything to everyone. I mean, that's impossible. That's what I learned also hard way. But this is how it is. So like we have this project with, I don't know, this hospital, and you can take off the logistics. Let's play this part.
Completely agree. Anyone else, or we can show a little bit of what we've been doing as well in lieu of time. Go ahead, Maureen, take it from here if you want.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, Christy, if you don't mind going up one slide real quick. I just wanted to, comment on how great it is to get everybody on the call today. And David, thank you so much for kind of circling back and, clarifying our scope, because there's definitely so many different groups and ways to communicate and needs that it's kind of like the onion is getting bigger and bigger, and we want to definitely focus on the ways that we can have like a direct impact and focus on our strengths. For us at Vector, we've addressed, we talked about last week, mentioning again, we're going to sponsor at least 2 containers going from the US over to Eastern Europe per month for the next couple months. Not everybody ships a full container. So we've also one of our partners, Books for Africa, has offered their warehouse space in Atlanta as a consolidation point. So if you have product that you want to donate, or somebody else that has product they want to donate, reach out. You can reach out. My email address is super long because my name is very long. So you can reach out at the Ukraine@vectorgl.com email address, and we can give you the information on how to ship that stuff to the warehouse, and then we will get it over to Europe for you. And there's a couple requirements here, just it has to be palletized and things like that. But again, we can focus on those details offline. And then, Christy, if you don't mind going to the next one for March, we are finalizing the details for the first 2 containers we're shipping over with some of our partners. So we're just happy to report that we're making progress. And while the transit time takes 3 to 4 weeks, and we know that there's congestion and delays once we get over to Poland and the surrounding countries of Ukraine, we're really focused on making a difference and getting things moving, and that's why we're here facilitating this call is to, one, drive conversation and collaboration, but also help actually get things moving and getting it from point A to point B and help those in need. We've already discussed this a little, and a lot of people are on this call, but we've established, medical supplies are needed, and we have partners on the call that are already sharing that they have some that they want to donate or just ship over there. That includes Bombas, MedShare, Matter, Procure Per Piece, Viva Blue, White House and Shapiro. Also, Performance Health is on the call, and very early on, in case you chimed in later, had talked about items that they have that are very specifically needed. So again, we want to help leverage our existing network and our expertise, match make, resource share, and help get the product continuing to move over there. EO Poland, the Ukrainian Embassy, Office of President of Ukraine, serve, in addition to others who are joined on the call here that are kind of in country or on the continent already in Europe that are possible consignees and collaborators. Again, we're going to share all this information. So these calls are not the only way to communicate, but the open communication sharing today is exactly what we wanted and what we needed to see in terms of truly making a difference, especially through logistics, which is the way that we really know how to do it at Vector. Do you want to go to the next one, Christy? Like we've kind of been openly sharing so far in the last 45 minutes or so, but if your organization has specific needs, or what does your organization have to give, again, we can talk today about that if you didn't get a chance to speak up yet, or if you know somebody or you want to share. The main way to contact us is through this email address at the bottom of the slide here, and that hits Enrique and Moni and Christy and I. And if it's something that involves shipping something or logistics, we're going to get you that information as soon as we can. And if it is just emailing us and say somebody on the call was talking about this and how do I reach out to them, we want to connect you. So we really want to be part of the solution here as much as that's possible.
Quick point on that, Maureen, because I know that there's other logistic companies that are joining the call. And at this point, for example, Chris, who I believe his microphone's not working, but he's been texting. This is not about Vector, right? So Chris has another great logistics company, and so this is about everyone. So even though we're kind of trying to coordinate this, make sure that make sure that we're going to be reaching out to all other logistic companies in the country who want to set up this collection warehouse network in place. And so we're basically working in partnership with all these other companies to make sure that we come together regardless of whether we are in competing industries or not, and we just put our heads together so we can send product to the Ukraine for free. That's the main goal. I mean, not everything can be done for free, and that's what we're going to need to have some other organizations and people and companies pitch in and subsidize some of the shipments, but make sure that it's not about us at all. It's about the Ukraine and helping the Ukraine. So go ahead, Marie.
Yeah, the one thing I did want to say, and it was on an earlier slide, Christy, if you could find the one where it had that link for the Ukrainian government, humanitarian aid. Here it is. So the help.gov.ua, and that's the English site right there. This website went live last week, right before we went on our call. So we didn't really have a lot of opportunity to poke through all the links and see what it's about. It's very resourceful. It's worth spending some time on there. If you might only have a couple boxes or something that you want to send, there's resources to do that on there. Again, not everybody's operating in pallet quantities, container quantities, but this website, it was fairly new. It walks you through a lot of steps of the process. It talks about partners that are already, not Vector partners, partners of Ukraine that are already on the continent, whether it be consignees or other agents. And I found it very helpful to spend some time on there. So I know all of
Yeah.
us are busy, but it's a really great resource. And I encourage anyone that's looking to get stuff over there or understand what the current situation is. I found it extremely helpful and user friendly.
We're also, it's also worth noting that this is not only a US effort. We have people in Mexico and some other countries that have reached out to us. Vector has presence in Mexico and in Chile, and so we're going to try to set something up in Mexico as well. So maybe we can ship one container from Mexico if we gather enough support. But it's just for people from the Ukraine on this call, just know that it's not only the US. There's a lot of countries around the world that have reached out to us and they're trying to help. We also work very closely with the WCA, which is an logistics agency network. We're going to talk to the CEO this week or next, and they're all willing to help out. They have actually launched their own website and efforts as well. So, I guess all I'm trying to say is we're all with you guys. You're not alone, and we're going to try to keep fighting as much as we can. So thank you, and just keep it up. We're here.
Thank
How
you.
long does it take to get a container to Ukraine?
That's a really good question. So of course, it depends on where you're shipping it from, West Coast, East Coast. But if it's the East Coast, it will probably be like 20, 25 days. The problem is ports are congested. There's not a lot of equipment availability in the country. So we're already struggling with a lot of logistic issues right now. And of course, this war just brings like another one and a bigger one. So I would say, to be safe, around 30 days from kind of port to port.
Yeah, and I think then it's just the distribution when it gets over into Europe as well. So
yeah. Chris, I see you kind of unmuting. Can you speak now? Maybe not. I just want to make sure because I see your little icon there changing. But if you can, then by all means jump in.
If I may, I will jump in for a second, and I would really appreciate what you guys are doing, because as you said, it will require many companies to work together, because I know it's for you, it's a daily bread and you are doing this all the time, and it sounds like, piece of cake, but for us, this is really huge thing, the logistics. So I end up with 3 pallets of food stuck in the customs for the last 2 weeks because we cannot get it go through, because we just don't know what's the procedure, and then we end up with some dead end, and all of a sudden we have to go through some procedure which cannot be done in this harbor. They will have to send it somewhere else. So seriously, if you can focus on the logistics stuff, it's a really huge part. And I know you tend to forget about how important it is because you are doing this, but for the rest of the world, this is really, really needed. And I would like to thank you for all of your efforts on that.
Thank you. And speaking of your particular shipment, did you get in touch with our agents in Poland? Did they help? Is that kind of already through customs?
Yeah, I mean it's a long story. I mean
okay.
it has to do
well,
with
we can take it offline. But if you need more help, we're here to push, and we have partners.
It's about Polish law. It's not about it's about very specific Polish law. But yeah, let's take it offline.
All right, and then so we're working with people that are collecting here in the U.S. to make sure all the paperwork is filled correctly, so that when it gets to Poland or Romania or Bulgaria or Moldova or wherever it's going, we can at least make the import process as painless and as smooth as it should be. But I know that's tricky sometimes, so let's just make sure that we follow the process so that we don't have to go through that hurdle after everything else that's already happening.
Guys, do you mind? I would like to say also express our gratitude for everyone for your efforts. We really highly appreciate your efforts. I can't express my emotions. As for the logistics, if you have any questions, if you have any problems with cross the border, I mean between Poland and Ukraine, address the embassy, contact me. We will try to resolve all the problems.
A lot, Mr. Timur, and every one of you guys. I'd like just to mention, going back to the documents and stuff for customs clearance for the shipments that we're working on, that we're already about to move because we're already placing the bookings. We have checked with our partner agents at destination precisely so that they give us the green light and check the documents before we ship, exactly to avoid this kind of issues. So again, as Enrique was mentioning, it's not about vector. You can ship with anyone you like to. The thing is to make things happen. So if we can help the process to go well, or if you just need someone to consult with or something, we're here to help.
Yeah, good point. All right, Christy or Maureen, anything else, or anyone else on the call? Anything else?
I joined late, but let me say just one item, and that is that we are shipping blankets and food by truck from Istanbul up through Bulgaria and Romania. And when it gets into Suceava in the north, we are putting it on a different truck convoy and taking it into central Ukraine. I just had a report a couple of days ago from my guy there, who's an engineer, and they've been actually under the shelling in central Ukraine. They said you could hear the rockets above their head, but you couldn't see them because of the cloud cover, but they could hear the explosion. So they go back and forth to a base in Suceava where they are taking 7 or 8 trucks in a convoy together. They've done that several times. So we want to continue that. And we may find other ways of shipping additional material. In particular, if we can put a load of prenatal vitamins on your next shipment from here, that would be fine too.
And you were just there, weren't you, Jim?
Yeah, I just returned and I had 2 others with me. I still expect that the corridor from Odessa across the ferry to Galat, Romania is going to be impacted one of these days with a new flood of refugees. And we're working with hospitals and clinics there, as well as some churches that are housing people. So that's a zone which maybe has been neglected, but is pretty important. And as I say, my engineer friend is working for me. He's in Suceava, but going back and forth into central Ukraine with the truck convoy based there. And we only add, let's say, 1 truck or some material to the trucks that go in, but he's actually helping them. So that's good. We had good publicity today from our local newspaper, front page story, and that all helps. But, you know, I think a coordination like this, Christy, is really, and Maureen, is a good idea. So let's stay in touch.
And do you want to mention your organization and your mission?
Yes. It's Conscience International. We're working in countries in different places around the world, but this is high priority, of course. And we're going to base everything in Romania. But as I said, we're bringing material from Istanbul by truck, and they're not charging us anything for the drivers and the trucks. So we're getting it up to Suceava, and then they reload it into a convoy and take it in. They've done several, and we're going to continue with that.
James, it's so inspiring to hear that people are literally risking their lives for free, right? Trying to help. So if you could share that kind of article with us, probably you won't understand.
Yes, I can tell you, or I can send it to Christy by email, but
that would be great.
If you can search the online version, it's Gainesville, Georgia, Gainesville Times. Gainesville Times is the name of the newspaper. It's an old-fashioned New York Times kind of newspaper. They print everything in their basement and distribute it all around the county. And And they had a front page story today, and then they had an online version, and it's Gainesville Times. You can type in conscience, and I think that you'll find it, Gainesville Times Conscience, just by searching it. I'll send the link to Christy as well.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's people like you is what kind of inspire everyone else to keep going. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm so glad for all of you. And what I told the reporter is that when there's something that you know you should do, you have to do it. And all of you are doing that. And that is so inspiring. That's so great and wonderful. And it's not so difficult. You just have to plunge in and find a way. And I think we've got good contacts on the ground now in 3 cities. We're thinking that maybe in Bucharest we can open a women's health center because the women are coming there with their children. And you know, the famous New Testament reference that says, woe to the women who are pregnant and nursing in the days of war, and pray that your flight be not in the winter. So that's, you know, you have to feel compassion for the women and children that are suffering. We met one woman with 2 children and she's pregnant and her husband was killed the first week of the war. We're supporting her, but for how long in the clinic where she's staying right now. So if we can open a women's health center, maybe in Bucharest near the train station, that's the station that's famous on the Orient Express. That might be a way to get hygiene kits and vitamins and food and baby products there available to the women who sometimes want to go on to Western Europe, but most people want to go back. They want to go back home, and they like to be in Ukraine. So that's a sticky wicket right now. Who knows how long that will be? So I think we have to be prepared to handle them on the ground if we can.
Thank you so much once again. Sue already found the link. If anyone wants to take a look and put it on the chat, we'll read the article carefully after this as well. Anyone else? I know a couple of people joined a little bit later, and if you guys have anything else to say, Evelyn, thank you so much for joining us again. I know that we all enjoyed your poem last week, and thank you so much. I believe we shared it. I know I have it because I asked Scott to send it to me, but did we share it with everyone, Christy and Maureen, or not yet?
Not yet. We got it after we sent the email last week, so we'll get it done.
We'll include it there, and again, I think it reflects the sentiments of what's going on right now, and that should also help inspire all of us to keep giving without looking to get anything in return. So thank you, Evelyn. No, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm thinking that there will be a lot of grants coming up to be able to help. I edit grants. If I can be in that area, I'll be glad to offer that.
Hello, Evelyn.
Pro bono. Hi, Jim. Very good to see you. I'm glad that you're back safely and appreciate all you've done.
Evelyn, yes, we'll take your word. If you want to help us with that and maybe try to find some grants and help us coordinate that, we're here to help you. Just tell us what to do. We know nothing about grants or anything else, but if we can leverage logistics for whatever you want, count with us, because yeah, you're again a role model in this war.
Too kind. Whatever I can do.
All right, so 2:04, we ran 4 minutes over. I guess 2:04 my time. Everyone has a different time zone, I forgot. So let's just wrap up. It's 1 hour. We want to keep it short and focused, as that we'd mentioned. So we'll send the notes for this one. We'll send a couple other links, and then we'll send the invite for our next week. And again, if you feel that you should invite more people to this, please feel free to do so. And we'll talk next week, and we'll give you an update on where we are on the 2 containers that we're already making bookings on, and the few that are probably almost ready, but might need some additional pallets here and there. So thank you so much for everyone for joining. Christy, Maureen, anything that you guys want to add?
That is it. If anybody knows any more problem solvers, bring them in.
Yeah, it's a good way. Thank you for everyone for joining. This is
Thank
great.
you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Have a good
Enrique.
week. Bye.
Thanks.
Most appreciative. Wonderful to meet everybody.
Same here.
Thanks. Bye.